feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful life. Give yourself a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's lovely. And while you're in the clapping mood, I'd like to give a big round of applause to my band.
Podcast.
Yeah.
We have a good lineup for you today. We will be discussing in our What Now national topics and our local topics, as well as millennial parenting. I have sitting to the right of me Miss Marie.
Hey.
And my favorite weirdo is in the building, Uncle JoJo.
Uncle JoJo.
And then giving us all the knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Drea, let us know what's going on in the national headlines with What Now.
Okay, so I was just scrolling down my news feed, and it says that
$1 billion.
$1 billion. It says that arrested and federally charged. An investigation is going on. It was 16.5 tons of cocaine that was confiscated, making it the Mediterranean shipping company was in the Bahamas, Panama, Peru, and Colombia. Y'all's thoughts about what y'all feel about this, and then I'll chime in last about what I feel like it is. Do y'all feel like this is a legit bust, or how do y'all feel about it?
I'm just trying to figure out how drug dealers now all of a sudden they get that sloppy where they losing $1.6 billion worth of drugs. That don't really add up. Wasn't it another drug bust like 2 or 3 months ago that Chester
Yeah, and I'm actually having some
Technical
sound issues. Yes, because it's only playing on one frame. I'm working on it.
Okay.
What up, Stan?
So, JoJo, what you think?
Man, I don't know. I saw it, but I didn't click on it. It be a whole bunch of shit in the game, man. You know what I mean?
Centuries, right? Like, people been doing drugs, people been selling drugs, people been transporting drugs, and all of a sudden it's like now we have these abnormally large drug busts, right?
That's like
and it's like,
that's when the government tries to
and they already
off.
and they already inflate the
Forgot to
drug
send a
bust,
memo.
right?
Yeah.
So the drug bust is already inflated, so you can knock this 1.6 billion down to like $750 billion or something like that. It's not 1.6 billion, you can't get that much money. 16, but how I feel about it is I feel like this plays into Trump's border control.
right?
Theory. Wonderful, magical drug sniffing police are going to show up with 16 tons, and that's a ridiculous Trump number. tons of weight at a time. Tons of weight. Like somebody should be, like several people should be missing right now.
And
Right.
They probably are. One thing you can't dispute is, you can dispute is the dollar amount, right? Because they always inflate it, and they don't always line it up with what the street value is. But when it comes to the weight, like 16 tons is 6. Like, say, man.
But then you never know. Haven't you seen those photos of like I did a big drug bust and you sitting there like, is that a dime set?
Right.
Yeah,
Like what kind of drug? Like they're like we got a dime set.
When they be holding those.
Banana cartons of bananas.
Banana crates.
Yeah, the crates of bananas, they had moved like an astronomical amount of dope through there. And I'm like, in the like, like super like unreasonable that somebody would
That's a bit
that somebody
ridiculous.
would
Like,
let
it's
go
outlandish.
of tons of dope at one time.
And one port at that, like, yeah, that's just a little too risky. I'm gonna maybe fly some stuff, and I'm gonna move
Right.
around, different boats. It can't
Right.
be on the same.
And that
cargo
way
ship.
if you do get caught, you ain't losing everything.
Right.
But
It's not smart drug dealers
I'm not a
anymore.
drug dealer.
Like, look at this.
But
Like,
what do I
well,
know?
apparently we can do some consulting. Give us a phone call. Check us out.
I can't do
Inbox
no
us, we'll
consulting.
give you-
Don't
Right.
call
Shout out to
me.
30-something podcast.
No,
Make
no,
sure y'all
no,
get
no,
it.
no. Lies he tell. I like to be.
You got tips on drug dealing.
No, I don't have any tips.
A little something, something.
I don't have no
But
tips.
moving on from that, the Arizona Police Department. What city was that in? Because we didn't get the actual city. So there's a city.
Was it in Phoenix?
Yeah, it was. It was Phoenix Police Department. They approached very violently a black family that had exited a family. Well, it was $8. Not sure. It looked like a family dollar because they had red shirts.
like that.
Right.
They had red shirts. After a little girl, she was 4 years old. She had a little baby alive doll. They actually released the video,
A $5
like
doll.
just
Right.
like a couple hours ago of the footage inside of the store. Everybody saw the footage outside of the store. Police officer, but I did get to see the footage of inside of the store today. And so the family, they were in the store. The husband was looking at like some underwear or something like that. The video cut away. You never saw him stealing anything. But they did try to say that he threw some underwear out the window after they had been stopped or something ridiculous like that. But you do see they have a 4-year-old daughter. Mom's pregnant. They have a 4-year-old daughter and I believe another child with them. I was trying to really see what was going to box. It's a total, like, we have PTSD with the police, and I keep trying to, and it's, I stopped trying to explain myself to white people. I stopped trying to explain the black experience to them because it's something that they're never going to understand, and it's just, it makes you more frustrated while you're trying to explain it to them. And they're like, well, if you haven't done anything wrong, then why would you feel that way? Well, statistics show that we are harassed more often. We are treated more poorly. We get arrested far more often. Situation escalates more often. Like it's just not in our favor. We're playing the Hunger Games every time we get pulled over, and I feel sorry for anybody who gets pulled over. You on the phone with somebody, hey, I'm finna get pulled over. Oh goddamn nigga. Like you just whole. Like, it's a whole sensation that comes up in your body. I turn into a slave when I get pulled over. I'm like, yes, Samantha, no, I'm not walking.
Yeah.
Right.
Just wanna make it out.
Right.
That fucking with me, leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Get back in your car. I'm
That's
not
a lot of
getting out.
F-bombs.
Like that was a lot of.
Tired of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like it's like, you know, and I've had so many run-ins with them just on GP to the point it's just like, man, leave me the hell alone, please.
And I feel like if you can kind of maybe feel the situation out when you getting pulled over by a police that's afraid, and that is the most scary situations, when you're getting pulled over by someone who is scared
and untrained.
I mean, but they get automatically scared once they see that it's a black person in the car.
Well,
but the thing is,
male. I feel like
well, yeah, a black.
woman.
Okay, so a black male,
Right.
we're gonna say. However, people who call, if they see a black person, they will call and they will make it as though you're a threat, and you're not even being a threat, and it's because you're a black person.
Right.
So that's why I kind of said black
Yeah,
person.
the
So
moment they-
when
it's
the
a black
officers
male-
come, of course they're not as fearful, but they do believe that we're going to be combative. They do, or argumentative or aggressive or anything like that. So
Yeah, and it's a different kind of reality that we have, and that it's like and I feel like, and I watched the Hate U Give last night, and at the end of it, it's like we can scream and yell and do whatever, and it's like they still don't hear us, and that's really what it is. Like, we can call for all kinds of police reform, we can do, all kinds of things to try to change the dynamic of the situation, but there are going to be more police officers who are afraid of black people because there's just not enough black people.
well,
for
then
them to be
keep your
exposed
ass
to.
in the white area and police
Well,
those
that
areas.
Going back to their hiring process.
They
Going
move.
back to they should be hiring people from the community, but then at the same time, we definitely like, oh, you work for you the police,
Right.
But you wouldn't go with, but going back to we want a
Or
police
you
ourselves,
ex-military, or they get all these.
They've never experienced it, so it's
Right.
like they still have all their unconscious bias, and it comes out right in that moment of fear.
Right.
Everything that they've ever thought or felt come out right then.
And it makes me nervous because, within the last year, in the Metroplex, we've taken in 131,000 people, and these people are applying for jobs for law enforcement. And these are people who we don't know where the hell they're from. They could be from, Podunk, Colorado,
Country
Indiana.
town.
and they have
Right.
no interaction.
Ohio.
They have had no interaction with black people at all whatsoever, because they do have these pockets in the U.S. where
It ain't no
black
black
people don't live there, and their only exposure is when they
What they
watch
see-
stuff on TV,
Yeah,
what
they see on TV.
when they see cops or whatever the media is portraying. So that is their information that they take in when it comes to black people. I don't want your ass pulling me over if you feel like me having a hoodie on is threatening. You've never had a conversation with a black person. You just know we play football and basketball real good.
And twerking videos and
Right.
grab
Right.
yeah.
And things of that nature, and you feel like we're super hostile just naturally. You don't respect us as human beings, and this country doesn't reinforce that.
Yeah.
They don't reinforce that we're human beings at all. So I don't. You get nervous when you see the white dude come out of the cop car. It's like, oh shit, where he from? It's like, I ain't got time.
If I see the police pin, I'm just like, okay, am I riding dirty? Like,
Right.
And sometimes people are like,
You get the
like I gotta think this through real quick.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I might be all right. Oh, like,
Right.
a good day.
Right.
Let's see.
I mean, but even with that being said, with how the police approach the family in Arizona, you turn around and you look in Chicago with the incident at
Yes,
Walgreens,
same
and then you
way
have an
into that.
employee taking the law into his own hands by
Yeah,
calling
yeah,
his
yeah,
homeboy. No,
yeah.
he was like,
I'm not calling.
so allegedly the woman, she was a mother of 5. She's shot and killed by the employee's friend because he accused her of stealing. So he called his friend. They had an altercation outside the store. The friend that was called in, and
supposed to be like a security.
no, that's what he told the bystanders, is that
But
he
he
was a
called
police
him a police
officer. Yeah, so that's already a
First name
crime,
cop.
right?
Right there.
So he confronts her, and I mean, I don't even know what his association is with Walgreens. That's still,
They like
Right,
trying
and
to figure it
Walgreens,
out.
from the
And they
article I
resulted in her
read,
death?
yeah, they shot and
She's
killed
a
her.
mother of 5. So they claim that she was stealing. Okay, mother of 5. So
And Walgreens stealing. She's probably stealing out of necessity.
right. So I mean, again, we got Family Dollar, Walgreens. This ain't Versace. I don't care what store it is, to be quite honest. There is no reason to kill a person.
Right. There's
Especially,
nothing
you don't
for
even
people
own the store. You don't own no damn stock. You
And
just
not for
checking
just, like,
people out.
stuff. Like it's shit. It's stuff. Like
Right.
you're
You
killing
don't
people over
own any
stuff.
of this shit.
This is like what
if somebody's stealing from your house,
that's something
and you
all
feel like
different.
shooting them, that's your business. They came in and violated. But when it comes down to like loss prevention situations, like have you seen the video of the Old Navy situation? There's a lady. She was like Jamaican or something. She's a black lady, and she's at Old Navy. She walked into Old Navy with the Old Navy shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
Becky, accuses her of stealing the shirt that she's wearing.
The $5
And
shirt.
so they're outside of outside of the store in the mall, and she's talking to her. She was like, "You saw me walk in with this shirt." She's recording this whole thing, and the mall security is there, and the girl grabs her hand.
So she assaulted her.
And wouldn't let go. She was like, "Stop resisting me."
Right. Okay, so that just goes back to what I'm saying.
So
is that
they
you're
played the
making
video
yourself
over.
the police.
Right. They
So
played the
black
video
folks
over,
think
and of
that's
course
what
they
it
saw
boiled
her
down.
walk
Police,
in
citizens
with
arrest.
a shirt on. It's like, oh, well, we apologize for the situation, and she should have never put her hands on you. It would have been a whole fight. Like, as soon as you touch me, I don't care nothing about these security guards. The security guard wasn't even backing her up. They were like, oh, we'll figure out what's going on.
What is there to figure
She-
out? Why is she correct over me?
Get your ass whooped. Like,
Right,
here.
that's exactly what's
That's
going on.
problematic, though, that in an incident like that, it's always assumed that the black person is in the wrong.
That's always the case.
Of course,
We need
it's
to find out what's
very
going on.
problematic.
As soon as it's somebody white, it's just like,
Arrest him now.
What's going on at home?
are you okay? You guys, it seems like it's a mental.
Do
it was
you
always
need
such a good-
shirts?
We actually had one of those
We have
incidents
coupons.
at the camp this weekend, you know. And I didn't post the footage. I'm debating if I should post it because I don't want it to like blow up into this thing. But we went and we tried to ride the jet skis, right? And they saw us coming and they told us like, we're not bringing out the jet skis. So I knew it was racism, but I didn't want to act a fool, you know. So I talked to them. They said it was because of the white clouds, all this other stuff that me being a black man, I don't understand nothing about what y'all talking about over the lake. Okay, we gonna eat that. But the kids are mad. So 5 minutes later, we out on the dock, and
You see somebody on the
you see somebody getting on the jet skis. Now the kids see it before I did. When I look up, they already on their way out in there. You know what I'm saying? So I make it, and they already done confronted them. And I get there, and I had to tell them, and you know, he recorded it, you know. But I had to let them know, look, man, y'all not about to undo everything that we worked so hard to pour into these kids over the weekend. You know what I mean? We trying to get them out of this victimhood. We trying to get them out of it. The world is against us, and we pour them into the weekend. We sell them on the jet skis to get them out here and allow them to be kids. And for whatever bullshit you dealing with, you think you finna tell my kids we not finna ride jet skis? And you just, well, they work for the restaurant. They work for, man, I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? So, but it's just that constant reminder.
So did they end up letting you get the jet skis?
What? Hey, you know they were gonna be held to tell the captain.
He pulled out that blank man outfit,
Nah,
his
he
little
didn't.
superhero outfit.
Yeah.
I know you did. Don't
I
lie.
didn't even have to.
Yes, he did. He pulled out blank man is
But it's
here.
just that constant reminder, man, and that weight that we do wear, you know. And it
Exactly.
only
Right,
comes
and,
from them.
and I think what I really need to work on is what I really want to be thankful for is that God has never placed me in these situations, right? Because I don't have the wherewithal to react like most people react in these situations. I'm not calling the police. I'm not about to, like, it's going to be like a totally different situation. And Becky at Old Navy decides that she wants to touch me, you finna go to jail, and I'm finna go to jail too. Like, and I hope that if something happens one day, well, I hope that nothing happens, but if it does happen, that I'm able to react appropriately. But I just don't really feel like I'm there because I feel like in my head, I'm in this space to where all this shit's cooking in my head. I've seen so many videos. I've seen, you know, the permit patties, and I've seen, you know, the girl that can't have the lemonade stand, and you know, all that shit starts pointing, and it's like we just have this PTSD and this frustration, and I'm not going to react appropriately. I'm just not. I don't want to. I don't feel like I should have to.
Yeah, that's the opportunity.
So you guys in the comments chime in, let us know what you think about the topics that we're discussing this evening, especially with regards to the over-policing that took place in Arizona as well as the incident in Chicago. What do you guys think about that? Stan said they could catch these hands.
And I just don't think that police are, like, they just get so up to, like, go and save the day that they don't even take context into the question, right? And they don't take into consideration, especially when it's black. It's like, you did that shit, you intentionally did that shit, and you're a thug, you're a gangster.
It's almost like we want to rid the world of your ass.
Yeah, this is my duty.
As quickly.
This is
Well,
my moral
And
obligation.
going back to, like you said, when it's white people, they do that, right?
Yeah.
Because they see themselves.
Yeah.
Whether you're in corporate America, the police, or whoever it is, they see themselves. They see their white daughter. They see their son. They see who they used to be. We see white boys getting off on rape. Well, he got his whole life ahead. We know he raped 2 people.
Right.
They're like, but he's only 19.
Right.
This little
in his
toxic
swimming
little-
career.
And
He can't be down there with
his
the
hormones
criminals.
were
Right.
raging, and and then we have
He deserves a chance. No, he does not. He
Right.
deserves to.
And we
to
see
go
what
to
happened with
prison.
Ethan.
He deserves everything Samuel L. Jackson said in A Time to Kill, if you ask me. But then when you look back on the history of the police, when they originated, they were called the what? Slave Patrol. So, I mean, I just feel like they're just carrying out that same motto and the same motive that they always have, just with a different twist on it now.
I feel like there needs to be at some point, and I really hate that the Obama administration didn't do this, because that's when like police shootings were like at a heightened state. Like we was dropping like flies. Like I remember being pregnant and like crying out of control, because it's like, why is this happening like every other day?
Right.
And it wasn't sensationalism. Like it wasn't the media like playing the situation up. These people were really dying, and they were dying on camera, like right in front. And it's like you would see the police choking out somebody. He's saying, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I
Right.
can't breathe." And he sat there and choked him out until he fucking died. And then he didn't get indicted. Like you watched it on camera. it's
Then
like,
they,
what?
Even
even
with
with
the-
he was gonna die. So then when they went to
They
court,
said he was going to
dismissed
die
him
anyway
as
because of his
obese.
weight.
Right, he was having
That
a heart
was
attack.
I'm like,
that was
this
fucking
nigga.
offensive.
Right, and it's
I'm sorry.
like the reality is just
Horrible.
so different, and I just don't know like when there needs to be some sort of federal mandate that's it's not gonna happen through Trump, but there has to be some sort of federal
Of course
mandate
not.
goes down into these police policies and says you have to do community service in this community off duty at 10 hours a week if you want to keep this job.
Well, the thing is, police departments are supposed to establish community relations.
They have community
They-
relations department.
Well, they're supposed to enact certain things, because I'm taking this criminal justice class, for a master's degree.
I'm so sick of her.
So, in my studies, I've learned that those are some of the things that are supposed to be in place so that the police officers can better relate to the citizens that they're serving. But I mean, for whatever reason, they don't do that. Or what they do is they'll do a photo op playing basketball with Pookie in there.
Right.
For 5 minutes, and
how
all
long the
police aren't bad.
Or they'll like show up hip hop dancing and Millie rocking.
Right.
And shit. Like they had one police officer, they showed him like dancing with the kids or whatever. And next thing you know, he's like slamming a black dude.
Oh my God,
on the car.
I didn't
Like,
see that.
damn, was this the same cop? And it was. Yeah, I just wanted to ask this really quick. When I was watching The Hate You Give, like the movie starts out and the father is having a conversation with the kids on how to interact with police. And they were talking about the difference in their age. Like one was 11, one was 8, and then the little boy he was like 2. And are we actually doing that? Like, is that a real conversation that we're having with our children, especially our sons? I don't have any boys, but I mean, is that a conversation that we should be having if we're not having that conversation? Like, if you get pulled over, this is how you should react in a situation, like to try to bring about some sort of self-control.
Well, one of our commenters, and I don't want to mess up your name, but she said I'm angry and it's messed up. And the hard part is we have to teach our children how to act right so that when they do get pulled over, they don't get dead. So I know for me, I have boys. You guys know that my oldest is 17. I have honest conversations with him. And like I told you guys a few weeks ago, we had an instance where, we were followed home by the police officers. And he was, cognizant that they were behind him. And I just said, hey, just drive the damn car. Don't be afraid of them. You're not doing anything wrong, so just drive the car. Half the time, they think he's mixed or they think he's Mexican when they look at him anyway. Just, if you're not walking up on him and you see his hair texture. But if you're in the car, you don't know he's black half the time because he's so yellow. But I have conversations with them about, how to act, how to react. Pull your phone out and record at all times.
Well, and
even with Caleb.
In my head, I say don't pull your phone out because you have the incident that happened, I think it was in California.
And then you
where
get
the
shot,
boy
right.
had his phone and the police came around the corner, thought it was a gun. 2 cops completely unloaded clips on him, and then they arrested his dead body. So I
wow.
I feel like I don't know what we can do.
We
I
Like,
think
I
we
don't feel
have
like
to-
we're sitting ducks per se, but I don't know how we can get in front of the situation because it seems so unpredictable.
I just think we have to find that balance to where we're not. Because my thing is, I talk to these boys about the police interactions and stuff like that. I even brought a detective out to talk to them at the retreat.
That's cool.
But my thing is not to feed that fear and
Right.
not to weigh that burden down even more. Because they already attach a burden with being black. You know what I mean?
I mean, because there is one.
It is
fair.
one. You know,
It's fair.
whether it's fair. So my thing is not to put this burden on them and make it heavier to make it seem like either way it goes when I run into these people, it's a lose.
Because
situation
and you
for
don't
me.
want them because that takes away the hope.
Yeah, it
Because
takes away hope.
so it's just like, why
Right.
even bother?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think personally, though, I think one of the biggest issues is the fact that, like, because of our distrust of law enforcement, which is legitimate,
Yeah.
that there's not enough of us working in the community. And then if we is in there, we're definitely going to call you a sellout and pig and everything else under the sun. But going back to, we're saying we need people that understand us. We need someone to say they see them, or they see their son, or they see their daughter. Also, what people don't know is, I want to say it was 2005, the Supreme Court declared police are not required to protect, only serve.
Right.
So going back to, their job is your ass.
Right, and how they look at the situation is what it all comes down to when it comes to an interaction, if they feel like the interaction isn't going in their favor, if they feel like you have any type of resistance, or if you have something to say, then they automatically, for some reason, when they see your black skin, they automatically have this assumption that I might not go home today. Now, there ain't no vigilante group of niggas out killing cops. Right?
No,
Like,
not at all.
most black people I know are scared shitless of cops.
Well, we had Memphis where they were busting them upside the head with bricks and stuff like that. I want to
that's
mention
reaction.
that
That's
because
reaction.
I don't
That's
want us
what
to
they
be.
say.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what-
No,
that's
listen,
reaction,
I'm
but
only
you look at
mentioning
the-
that because we've been accused of only focusing on, when the white people do stuff wrong. So I want to make sure I mention, and it still was
And we
reactionary.
do talk,
at the
and
end
in
of
all
the day.
fairness, we do discuss on this show about
Exactly.
like when with black on black crime and things of that
But
nature.
we just had people who never
Yeah.
came to our page before decided they knew everything. And
Right.
I'm what am I? A liberal?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a liberal.
Yeah, she got called.
I just found it out. By the way.
But
Sorry, Jen.
no, it's no problem. But like our black skin automatically becomes a life or death situation for them, and it's like, so you telling me that a white dude, you can de-escalate him holding a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
You can de-escalate the
He can
situation.
shoot at you,
Come on,
stab
buddy.
you.
You just put the gun down. Put the gun down. You got endless amounts of patience for him,
Right.
Because you see him. This could be my cousin. This could be my uncle,
son.
right? You could, but when you see us, it's like
I
kill,
thought he had one.
kill
I
or
know
be
he had one,
Right.
and I de-escalated, but I thought he had
right.
one.
Like
you
we,
know what I mean?
like every black male is walking around strapped, and it's like,
But
like,
I thought most of us were felons. So how can they be strapped if they're felons?
right. But it's like with Chris, if Chris don't talk, you gonna have an automatic assumption just by looking at him, right?
Mhm.
Dark skin, dreads, like, and you just gonna
Like,
automatically.
he's the usual suspect. It's a police
Right,
officer. He's the usual
he
suspect.
did it. Whatever it was, he did it, right? And then when he starts talking, it's like, oh, it's like they don't take the context into, like, they don't ever take the time to talk to you.
Right.
It's like they don't ask you how your day is, and I just don't understand why we can't ever
Because they
be
dehumanize
looked at
you.
as people.
So, on that note, what was it, 4 years ago, the shooting in South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
they
They
took
used the
old boy to
anniversary.
Burger King. He already
They
had
did.
his way by killing all those people. Then they were like, you can also have your way
Well,
by
get
going
you
to
a
Burger
snack.
King.
Let's get
We
you
gonna-
something to
yeah,
eat.
so
A medium.
how can you say, we know you killed all these people, but buddy, you look mighty hungry. You look exhausted. Let me take you and feed you.
Good
So
job.
they still humanized him.
Right.
They still, they still saw him as them,
Right.
most importantly, enough where they're going to take him and feed him.
Yeah, I feel like
That was 4 years
That was
today.
an insult. Yeah, 4 years to the day.
And I feel like it kind of goes back to how this country was founded, like the principles on how it was founded, and that there is a definitely deep-rooted racial overtone, in this country, and that it's just that not necessarily. Yes, of course, like all minorities are looked at differently, but when it comes down to the racial hierarchy, is blacks here and
We
white.
still fall.
We have the
here.
greatest genetic potential as far as wiping them out. You see
Right.
what I'm saying?
Everything
don't
we
have to-
touch turns black.
Yeah, everything we touch turns black. So that's really what it boils down to. When you look at everything, it boils down to white, genetic annihilation, right? So we are the biggest threat. So black men, we are the biggest threats to that system. Like we don't have to get out and kill them. You know what I mean? We just go get us
Knowledge,
Becky,
get their
talent.
daughter.
they buck 'em, and we put an end to them. So that's the serious threat. So that's why they always go back to I feared for my life.
Right.
And they win with that because psychologically every Jew
There is
that's
a fear.
white, you know what I mean? This is something that's underlying that
Right.
they don't talk about. So you can sell it to the jury every time. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like the shit ain't gonna change.
I don't want to, just keep
Excuse my language. I'm just
talking.
talking like I'm on my spot.
with
Mm-hmm.
any talking
Yeah,
about it
wow.
because I really don't even know what the answer is. I feel like and we can see when it's a black police officer shooting a white girl
Ooh.
Oh. Murder.
who
Yeah,
jetted out the
yeah,
fucking door
yeah.
at 3
In the
a.m.
alley.
Yeah.
In
In
the
the
alley.
alley.
You
And
jetted out the alley at 3 a.m. and he wasn't even black, right? He was
Muslim.
was he Ethiopian?
Yeah.
I believe it was Somalian or Ethiopian.
Yes, Molly.
But you was black by default, right?
Yeah.
So you don't get to shoot white
Exactly.
women who dart out out of the darkness at 3 a.m.
But we got to think of how revered they are and the pedestal that they're put upon. To
Right.
White
And she was
women.
blonde
That's
hair,
there
but
was
like,
no
that's
way
totally
in
different.
hell that she should have scared you. She was a damsel in distress.
In the middle
Meanwhile,
of the
again,
night.
anybody running towards me in the alley, I'm gonna shoot them.
Right.
That's my first thought. Like,
And he
shoot.
didn't even what did he
Shoot
shoot
first,
through the
ask
door?
questions. Later.
Go to Weezer because the Weezer go
In a
pop.
dark
Yeah.
alley. So
And-
guys, we
Moving
kind of
on.
have ventured off, so
Yeah.
we got to kind of get back on course. We definitely, Kamiko, if you could show us the video from yesterday in Dallas, Texas, at the
Earl
federal
Cabell
building.
Federal Building.
Yes.
At approximately 8:50 a.m., Dallas, Texas experienced the worst non-mass shooter.
I don't want to laugh. But
It's not funny, but I just don't know what the plan was.
No, what's funny is I have the two videos from his Facebook page, but I don't have the video of the
shooting.
incident, of the shooting from the. But it was on our page.
Yeah, so if that was captured by someone who was in an adjacent building looking out of
Right.
the window. He had a really good shot of the shooter as he was like blindly shooting down the street, and then he darts
Right.
across. I'm not even sure what happened.
Like that's what kind of takes look. That kind of because I did want to hold this whole white supremacy thing, and there's just kind of like I don't know what you like. I don't even know what you was doing, buddy. Like
What was your goal?
what was you just didn't have any friends?
Kamiko, show the picture first of the I don't know if he's a police officer or a security. Yeah, some of the posts and
Look at my
response
boy
we
Zay.
got back when we shared our thoughts on everything that happened, because I was getting my investigator on.
Poor
Okay.
him. He doesn't look like he had no friends.
Yeah, so his name was Brian Isaac Clyde. And that is the photo of him on the ground after he had been shot. So what happened is at approximately about 8:50 a.m., he decided that gear himself up. He had like all this ammunition on him, and he went and shot at the doors of the Earl Cabell Federal Building. Is that glass bulletproof? Miko works there. Is the glass there bulletproof?
It's supposed to be, so it didn't go through, but it did shatter the glass.
The glass, it was shattered.
And they're still closed down today. They kept the federal building closed Okay.
Y'all got paid leave?
Yeah, but this is my normal day off, so I missed out.
Man.
Oh.
But everybody else got off.
That's
Like, can I get a floating terrorist holiday or something?
So initially, when I was looking at the reports, they thought it was an incident going on their end at the Omni, right? And so I was like, well, damn, there's two things going on. And come to find out, it was just him at the Earl Cabell Federal Building. He had his, I think it was like I'm sorry, I'm not a gun enthusiast, so don't start. So this looks like an AR-15 that he had in the photo of the actual incident. So, of course, we posted on our page. And after, I promise you, this probably went down for like 3 minutes, maybe. By the time he went across the street, he's very dead here. But they did not pronounce him dead until after he had gotten to the hospital, which I thought was weird.
Well, they wanted to give him that honor, I guess.
And so these are some of his posts that he had on his page. It says, "No cosplay for me." For a con. What does that say? No
A
cosplay.
con, it's a convention.
Oh, well, I don't know what that is. Because I decided to finish getting all of my mags, 2 40 rounders and 8 30 rounders total. A tad bit late though, since everyone is going over to 762. I do not know this lingo.
No.
Because level 4 plates are now widely available and affordable and will stop almost anything.
And so I kind of broke that down
Uh-huh.
because I feel like on that day, and that was this past Saturday, he was actually telling us what he was about to do on Monday. I know somebody else is going to say, no, you're a conspiracy theorist. But when I broke that down, cosplay is kind of like where you kind of pretend. You pretend like you get all in dress up or whatever, and it's pretend. But when he's saying no cosplay, I think he's saying, hey, this is not going to be fake. This is going to be some real stuff that's about to go down.
This ain't no reenactment.
Then he talks about he decided to finish getting all his mags. He posted a picture of all of those mags that he purchased as well. And then after that, I feel like that was the green light he needed to say, hey, now I'm going through with whatever he had planned. Then he says level 4 plates are widely available and affordable, and they will stop almost anything. And I took the time out to Google what level 4 plates are because I didn't know.
Okay.
And it's a form of body armor.
Okay.
And so it says level 3 will not stop a direct hit from a 30 caliber armor, but
so
level
he didn't
4
intend on dying.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that's so accepted in that culture. If there were to be what they try to put us as black identity, extremist politics, if we were to make a post like that, it's instantly radar.
Right.
We follow.
They'll show up at your house.
And then you also are gonna get your page. You're gonna get your page closed down and all that. You're gonna be in Facebook jail.
They pulling up on you.
I really believe he was giving the warning, hey, it's going to go down. I won't be at the convention because I'm doing this on Monday.
But people that maybe own a few guns, they're a problem, but you literally have cults and whole militant groups that are out especially in the country.
Yeah.
That really hate government, and at any moment they're stockpiling everything, but that's not an issue. That's not a real concern.
Well, some of his posts suggested that he didn't agree with a lot of Trump stuff as well.
Yeah, and him being former military and being so there's so many pieces to where I feel like some of it had to do.
But whoever trained him is like embarrassed.
They're like, so say he was in the army.
On his Facebook, he has these videos that were really disturbing, and I did see both of the videos on the news. But our experienced journalist Ann Nixon was able to capture these videos before everybody else.
Shout out to Mr. Harlan teaching me how to journalize.
That's Lincoln Humanities.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how much longer I have, but the fucking storm is coming. However, I'm not without defense. Yeah. Fucking ready. Let's do it. I don't know how much longer I have, but the fucking storm is coming.
You dare underestimate my power? I'll show you whose power is greatest. Prepare to be defeated.
But even with all of that, it's still a warning. It's still he's telling us what's gonna happen because he's not first of all not a good criminal. Number one, number two, he wanted to be seen. He wanted attention that he wasn't getting from his Facebook friends. I think his uncle Paul Clyde.
Paul just had a humor or something.
Yeah,
I think they knew
he
was
was like
suicidal.
nice stuff or something like that about the guns that he had. What did you? I think some
So
people
are
was
y'all
putting it
referring to on our
Instagram.
Instagram?
Our Instagram, his alleged cousin.
It was on Facebook?
Yeah, his
Okay.
alleged cousin, she got on there and she was just like, the whole family's kind of, like, they feel bad, but they also like, he could have killed somebody, so, hey, if he got killed, he got killed. She did say that there is a suicide note, but I haven't seen anywhere that on social media or anything like that. News period, but they did say there was a suicide note, and she kind of just said he was awkward and a dork, which definitely came out in those videos. I'm like, yeah, you just like a little weirdo, and you didn't have
Right, and they didn't take him seriously.
Yeah, no one took him serious. It was just kind of like, yeah, okay, and then yeah, he
Rifle. It was, I don't know, and it's like you
socially
don't,
awkward.
you
I
don't
wear
ever,
pizza shirts, so be careful when you talk about people who wear shirts.
if you
with
ever
food.
put on a
I
lobster
love lobster,
shirt,
but I'm not wearing a lobster
your
shirt.
pizza's not an animal. So
And
if
they
you
were
ever
big
put on a lobster shirt, then I will
if the
talk about
lobster
it.
is holding pizza, then
But he was like
hey,
22.
I'm
That
down.
shirt. He was 22. That shirt belonged to like a 47-year-old retired man.
I'm
on the
saying.
beach in Bahamas. Like
Right.
that was a sign.
He bought a shirt with lobsters
That was a
on it.
sign. That should have said.
So
Yeah.
his fashion was a sign of his.
Girl, you're
But
right.
we
Between
just
the Lord of
being
the Rings, or
petty.
the King Arthur, and the Round Table, yeah.
But I mean, the thing is that so the gun enthusiasts on our Facebook, if you guys go and look when we first reported, they had put up some posts of his that Miko showed earlier, and since our page is public, we had like some super right wing gun enthusiasts. It's like all liberals are just trying to take our rights. And it has nothing to do. This guy was a weirdo, and it just going in basically all of a sudden just saying that we were trying to impose some sort of gun control,
Right.
which everybody on this show feels differently about gun control. So it was crazy how they automatically got super defensive about it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I feel like when it comes down to gun control, that's their thing. Like,
Well,
gun laws don't apply to us. We're not allowed to
Yeah, whether
walk
we're allowed
around.
to have them or
We
not.
can't open carry. Even if we identify that we have a weapon that we own, we're not allowed to open carry. I've seen countless videos of black people who support the NRA, and they are out marching with their handbook, quoting all these rifle laws that they can carry this and carry that, and they got 5 police officers standing with their guns on. You need to put that gun down. You're
Right.
not
But
allowed to.
going that when you black, that stuff just doesn't apply to you.
It
Like,
doesn't apply to
sounds
you,
good,
right?
But it doesn't apply to you.
They will Philando Castile your ass.
Exactly.
And I just don't. I feel like when it comes down to gun control, and we have so many black people who feel like they got gun rights, and that's crazy to me. Like your homeboy is they trying to take our guns, this and that.
I do enjoy a nice gun. Like
I mean, we all do. I like firing a
But
gun.
I'm not outside like going around. I'm not playing. I'm not out there, playing war games and shit.
Right.
But and then too, I would think that if I felt that way, I would keep that in private because you're supposed to move in silence,
Right.
not make an announcement that you're moving in silence. So, like neither here nor there.
Right.
But I do think I think my only issue when it comes to us and guns is like now we are starting to be there's more of us that are becoming gun owners and they're saying it's like in resistance like to like the police brutality and I feel like it's like to some degree we do want to assert our rights, right? Mm-hmm. We're like, okay, if he can do it, I should be able to do it. And that is where we're at to some degree, even to the point of us being unapologetically black. You know, I'm tired of walking in with my interview voice.
Right.
I'm gonna do what the hell, and I think that's what it boils down to. It's actually to me, it's like I have going back to yes, I have a right. I mean, I don't. But I do. But to a certain point, until we all get to that point where you're like, know what? These rules should be consistent across the board. They should apply to everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes to our rights, that we have to contextualize that, right? Like it's okay to assert your rights in a situation that's not going to get you killed.
Yeah, at the gun
Right.
range. Like at
Right.
the gun range.
Right.
You know.
If you want to collect guns, at home, but even like when they had the march and the two twin brothers, one of them had a gun. They tried to pin a whole
The whole murder on him.
Right, and it's like we have to. I understand that it's not right, but we have to understand that shit's gonna happen.
Well,
it's gonna continue
That
to
happened.
happen.
Then they actually started watching people that were in that march. They did even pick up somebody on black identity extremists. The feds had him like locked up for months. But it was, so even that speaks volumes to like. So the moment, look, you can legally have a gun,
right?
But then you can't. Like,
right.
But you black.
Stan said,
come here. We're gonna find a way to tie you up.
Stan said that I want to own multiple guns and have them around, but the way my skin is set up.
Yeah.
And Chris Drake said that there should be bullet control. Every bullet sold needs to have some sort of ID number that links back to the person who bought it.
But I mean, to some degree, it does link back to that particular gun because those guns have there's certain grooves within each gun where you can kind of say this bullet came from this gun. Now,
I feel like
link the suspect to that particular gun. But.
So, I feel like what needs to happen is because they try to weed out people who have mental health issues and things of that sort. But you can definitely
But they ruined
you can fool.
Trump rolled that back anyway. So Trump rolled that back, and then I want to say a month later. So
and then they have the gun show loophole. Right, so if you want access to a gun, you can go buy a gun just as fast as you go buy a carton of eggs. You really can. Like if you want a rifle, you can definitely go down to Walmart, go pick you up a rifle. Right, and it is just that quick that you can go and own a gun. But what I feel like needs to happen when it comes down to gun control is, you buy a gun, you need to insure it. That gun has to have insurance that says that you're going to be legally liable if someone takes your gun and commits a crime with it and you don't report it stolen, right? If somebody steals your gun and they go and commit a crime with it and you haven't reported it stolen, so this goes down. This will go.
Well, I might have a gun for crimes and one for not. I don't. I might.
But so this would help in mass, because the thing is nobody's taking accountability but the shooter. But there were so many signs that people missed. Most of the time with the mass shooters, they're taking guns that were already in the house.
Yeah, hands down.
Right, and they just go to the gun closet, pull the gun out, and it's like, oh, well, nobody saw it coming. And it's like, well, you had the gun, you should have had the gun insured. So now your ass is liable because you didn't have it locked up, you didn't have it, put away, or had the key hidden or whatever.
Was it Sandy Hook?
There's a Sandy Hook situation as well. And also it was, I think the park, what is it, Florida?
Oh, South Park.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
At the high school.
Yeah.
But I think for me, all the gun and bullet talk is above me now. To be honest, I don't know what y'all been talking about. I'm not a gun owner, enthusiast, or anything like that. I'm not, because I got kids and I don't want my kids to, mistakenly, pull up nothing out my house.
Well, I've taken my daughter to the gun range, so she knows how to use a gun.
Well, I know how to use it.
And I feel like that's important too,
but
because they definitely take their kids to the gun range.
It's safety and education.
What I was gonna say is I think the focus needs to be more on these domestic terrorists,
right?
More than on gun controls, gun laws, and all of that. We need to focus on.
And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she talked to the FBI.
Oh yeah,
she definitely read him his rights, talking about the domestic terrorism situation. She talked about how why domestic terrorism isn't treated the same as any type of terrorism in America, because it's born and bred here, and he had absolutely no response. He was like, well,
because our criteria, the way our criteria is set up,
right?
That's basically what it was. But then he undermined his own sentences within that. We did share that video on our page.
I live in it.
Live in the morning. I think it's been saying broadcast interrupted. I think they could hear us and not see us.
Yeah, we got 2,000 likes.
Yeah.
You said the Facebook Live time limit of 480 minutes has been reached.
480 minutes.
Cause we was talking about the feds, all kind of shit. Look like we got shut down.
So
It's
all of a
9:26.
sudden now we done reached our minutes. We ain't never had no minute reaching problem.
I ain't never seen it. YouTube is still going live.
Yeah, I think it might just be the.
Who angry face?
We gonna go to jail.
You said what?
Are you
did take away Farrakhan.
Yeah.
Farrakhan do be saying shit.
Listen,
Like, we don't. I mean, we just.
I don't fool with Farrakhan.
I actually like Farrakhan, but I do
don't.
know he be saying shit. So I'm like,
He
yeah.
ain't said shit lately. He done turned.
He's
he done turned that shit all
calmed
the way
down a little bit.
Rhetoric.
Yes.
He's able to incite a nation.
And he is definitely why Malcolm X is no longer here.
Shit about the Jews.
Back live.
We're back live. Okay, so
On new live.
on who?
On new live.
Oh, okay. So we are
I don't have
back on a new
notification.
live. I guess the government infiltrated.
Enough talking about
And
gun
they-
laws, the NRA.
Right, the NRA
asses.
got
Right.
tipped off, and we were
So-
talking about domestic terrorism.
We did have a commenter that said that the problem with Brian Isaac Clyde, and his name was spelled real backwards, that middle name, but at any rate, she mentioned that she
Black
felt
people,
like,
we can't talk about how nobody
hey,
names
girl,
spelled. We
I
can't
can't,
do that.
yes, I can.
We
As
can't
black
do
as
that.
I want to be. But no, so what I was going to say
All
is,
the silent letters floating around.
right. You know, I get real mad when people say or pronounce or spell my name wrong. But it was a Caucasian lady, and what she mentioned was how he was raised was part of the problem, and that she felt it was a parenting issue. And so that kind of takes us to our last and final topic, which is the question that we posed last week: how were your parents as far as their parenting styles, and how it affected us as millennial parents, and how we're parenting? Is it the same as what our parents have done, or differently? You guys chime in the comments, and I want to hear what you guys have to say at the round table. I'll throw my bit in whenever, but you guys can go ahead.
I talked about it last time, so we can start.
JoJo,
How did you?
how your parents?
Y'all introduce JoJo. I got some pictures there.
Okay, and JoJo. A lot of good things going on in the community for not just young black men, but just families in the black community as a whole, pouring into them. He says what's crumbs to some is toast to most.
Yeah.
So y'all will catch that on the way out. But we want to hear, you know, how you were raised, how you grew up. I know you kind of sometimes on your Facebook page, you make mention of your mom and how she raised you. Just let us know kind of that story, how that influenced you as a father, and, you know, what you took, you added to it.
Okay, so first and foremost, you know, a lot of people graduate, they go to HBCU. I didn't, or HBCU. I went to SCBU, Sophisticated Crack Baby University. You know what I'm saying? So, my mother smoked crack, shot heroin, did the whole thing. She was robbed of her childhood from drugs.
Wow.
So, it was a blessing that I was even born healthy, right? So, everything that y'all see, even with the crumbs to some, is toast to most, the love deposit, everything that y'all see really was a revelation that I had, and I was in a dark space. Like, you know, we done talked about this before, you know, Harmony coming into the world, how she came into the world, losing a brother, but just having that heart for our people, you know what I mean? Having that real heart, not that, you know, line the kids up and let's talk to them and do all this other kind of stuff, but just having that heart when you see these news stuff on the news, like, it really fuck with you and affects you, and then you go outside at your front door, right? So, I'm gonna get into the what's crumbs to some is toast to most. So the motto for that and restoring unity in the community is, my mother, she loved me, but she had a sickness. When she was herself, you know what I mean? She poured into me. She taught me things. I knew she loved me, but I knew she had a sickness, right? So, but she wasn't around. So my granny raised me. Granny working hard. She wasn't always able to get. Now, when you take this situation and you look at it, it seems like hopelessness. It seems like despair. It seems like it could be rage, right? But when you pour love into it, which is what my family did. I was blessed with a big family. So it would be this cousin to step in and make that love deposit. It would be this cousin to step in and make that love deposit. It would be this aunt, you know. So everybody took turns spreading love and pouring into me, and that saved my life, right? So that's where the love deposit comes from. It's like, okay, we probably can't do it all. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to start the pot, you know, because the thing is to simplify the solution, right? Because everybody, like, we can get all of this information and we can make it sound all green. It's like, how do we break it down and make it effective, right? So it's as simple as, okay, I'm going to start the pot off. Boom. You put your crumbs in, you put your crumbs in, you put your crumbs in. This is how we're going to do it. I'm going to keep everything out in the open so y'all can know everything is going back out. So we baking these loaves of love. And when we come together like that, people are allowing me to go and share my story, share my testimony, share my experience, because it's a lot of kids out there, they can't identify with a lot of these men that go up and, you know what I mean, and talk to them. So that's it. The fatherhood over every hood. Black men, I'm not your foe. It's fatherhood over every hood, brotherhood over any hood. It's just all solution based and just all just to bring people together and spread love. Because at the end of the day, love is the answer. You know what I mean? I feel like.
And do you feel like the way that you were raised, how does that reflect how you directly parent your own children? I know you got 75 stepkids.
Yeah.
But your actual children, like how does the way you were raised, like what was the meat and the bones?
The meat and the bones, I think that because of how I was raised and I was forced to be, I'm not going to say forced. I grew up with love, but I kind of grew up like a weed. I did what the hell I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be way. But I think it allowed me to give my kids that flexibility to make their mistakes. So when they make a mistake, they have this idea that daddy is going to be so harsh, I'm going to come down on them. But it actually allows me to sit down and talk to them, and I'm actually more understanding and lenient with them than their moms are, you know. So.
Well, dads are like that.
Are we? You know, because I
yeah,
have,
you do have girls.
You have girls.
I have girls, so
I mean, that's your son. I forgot him.
That's my nephew.
I already know you
I
was
know,
lying.
but you call him a side. What you call him?
Hey, no, guys know that I don't talk like that about people's children. I'm like one of the nicest people in the world. I don't say petty, mean stuff. JoJo.
But I just think that.
Side out hard as hell.
But I think that I allowed them to be kids. You know, I made that.
Because you feel like maybe you had to grow up a little bit.
Yeah, and I feel like our kids do today. I feel like we get stunted in our growth, emotionally and spiritually, because we are in these environments where we're not allowed to be kids. You know, we're forced to be. You know, we have parents that don't know how to communicate the best. You know what I mean? So it's like, our kids don't have a space just to be kids, and I was one of those kids. I had to take on adult roles. I had to start providing for myself early. I had to make choices that a 14-year-old didn't have to make, and I'm not the only one, or shouldn't have to make, and I'm not the only one. So my thing was, you know, is first to try to heal from some of these things so I don't pass it on to my kids, but also just, look, man, y'all kids, y'all gonna make y'all mistakes. Be kids instead of trying to forcing them, you know, to worry about all of these things that they have the rest of their lives, you know, to think about. So that's one way that I can say that being a crack baby affected my parents.
Well, you turned out really awesome.
Yeah.
Marie, what do you feel like some of the things that you took from your parents, you being raised, and how it affected you as a parent? Like, you know, what you say, I'm never going to do this, or, you know, that was really good gym and I'm going to pass that along.
Even like, okay, so I'm divorced, right? My parents divorced too. I was raised by my father. I will never let my children, as a woman raising girls, I understand that how much they need me. Just like a daughter needs their daddy, they definitely need their mother, because she's the example. And not really having that, I realize that impact my self-esteem, my confidence, you know, the things you see. So for me, that's major when it comes to my daughters. Making sure they feel like they have a place they can come talk to. You don't want to feel like everything is just, anything you do is a problem. I used to feel dismissed. And then even for me, I came from a background where there was a drug addict in a home, and that was his primary. By 14, 15, I was taking care of myself. So for me, I sometimes I overdo it with my daughters because I don't ever want them to ever know that. And I feel like sometimes it's like you hear people complain, my kids shouldn't have to struggle. They shouldn't have to know anything about that. And it's not like you didn't. No, you should never have to go through what I went through.
Right.
And I'm gonna ensure that never happens.
Right.
Now there's some things like I think I'll complain about like. I grew up in a household where it was what my daddy wanted to eat. That's what they cook. Now I'm cooking 5 meals, and now I'm just like, this is why they did not allow me just to eat what I. Because now I've created monsters,
Right.
and I'm in there like, okay, or I'm getting food from this place and food from that place. So there's like some things where it's like you take the good with the bad. What I will say is, at the end of the day, I do realize that parents are human, and they do the best they can with what they know.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I take whatever I experience. That resistance grew me. It made me who I am today. So there was a time I made me look down. I was angry. And then it's like, now it's like, well, you know what? I wouldn't be right where I am hadn't I went through that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and there were people that showed up and they kept me lifted. They did things for me that they didn't have to, and they weren't relatives. So even too, being able to see that, I think it's kind of like, it's just one of those things where you just protect your kids. And I do my best to just ensure that, like, they have a better life than what I have. But they know that, too. So it's one of those things like, remember you said we were supposed to,
I didn't ask to be
I didn't ask. Like, first of all, I didn't ask you to repeat that back to me. But I'll go buy that thing.
Lisa?
Before I get into mine, I'm going to read one of our comments from LaJoya. She says, parenting style from the adults in her family was girls do everything, boys do nothing. Ooh,
I've seen that.
That's tough.
Girls do everything, boys do
like the girl had all the responsibilities in the house, and then the boys didn't have.
Because I was thinking like in context of like, but the boys got. I mean, I thought she was saying the girls got to have all the privileges, and I was like, the boys were the one who got.
Boys,
saying
the girls
boys
will be
got all
held
the
accountable.
privileges.
Right.
Well, for me, I think I talked about it last week, like just the presence, my parents being present at everything, just making sure that I felt supported. And the fact that it was 5 of us in our home, I don't want to not acknowledge my other siblings, but the fact that it was 5 of us in our home, and at one point, my brother and I were both in high school at the same time, both playing basketball on championship level teams. And it was very interesting and awesome to see. First half, my mom is at the game. Second half, my dad is at the game. And, you know, they would just go back and forth. So just to see that dedication, that support was very important to me. I think from that I took away was, you know, to be present in things for my kids. But one of the things that I feel like I do a little bit different, my parents poured into us athletically. I was relatively smart, did good in school. So my mom, because I had to ask her, hey, you know, you stopped looking at report cards back in middle school. And my brother, he made bad grades. So he wouldn't let me show my report card. Now I done bust my ass for these A's. And
somebody finna see this.
Right. And then I had to deal with my dad that I got paid for my A's. So I need to, you know, run me my money. And I can't hold my report card because you done made an F or C or whatever. But my mom had that trust in me academically, where for me, it was something I was really proud of because I know I'm good at sports. But other people don't know that. Other people don't realize that I'm good at academics is what I'm trying to say. So for me, being good at academics, writing, those were things that I was very passionate about that my parents, they didn't really pay too much attention to that stuff. All they saw was, you gonna get you a scholarship in athletics, and you know, and even with dating, they didn't really allow me to date or nothing like that. So it was like, okay, let me go ahead and figure some stuff out on my own. So now, as a mom, I'm not gonna front. I'm kind of strict on dating too, but simply because I feel like as a child, like my oldest son, learn yourself first, because I don't want him to be a toxic boyfriend. So if you're not appropriately talking to girls, then just be friends with them until you start learning yourself and you mature. Because no, I don't want him to jump off the porch husband material, but I don't want no damaged girls by way of somebody that I raised. Right, who's still trying to figure themselves out. And then I don't want no daddies knocking on my door. I'm a single mother. So I don't want nobody popping up to my door, because at the end of the day, you come to my house and I got to protect my house regardless of what happened in the conversation. So for me with that, it's like I'm kind of slow down on the dating but you can have friends. And then another thing that for me as a mom that's really important is to cultivate their passions at an early age. Like with Jada doing a cosmetology camp, like when she told me, hey mom, this is what I want to do, I don't know if I really want to go to college. And I was like, well, you don't have to. Right. What do you want to do? And then once she told me that, I just started finding out different information and programs that and even next year we'll be moving so that she can go to a school. So I think it's really important, even if you have children, black people, stop forcing sports on your kids.
Yeah,
there are so many ways to make money.
Your kids' strengths, like you have to.
Right.
Like if you see they're good with their hands and they might be, you know, good at being a mechanic, or don't try to act like people ain't making money in
right. And there's
like
nothing wrong with being
needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Trades are valuable,
yes,
and they get paid good money. So don't
and
force that college thing too.
Yeah.
Right.
And we grew up, and it's a whole different time with this social media. If you find out a talent that you have and who you are at a young age, you tap into that, then you can come out of. You don't even have to wait until y'all had the twins on. They were already making a killing with the boutique and stuff like that. So with the clothing line. So it's not a. It's just not a blueprint.
It's our responsibility to fan their flames.
I wanted to chime in. I wanted to take this a little bit deeper. So, what I felt like with my parents, there's tons of stuff that I could take that was super wonderful that they did. My parents always had my back. I'm talking about always. It was never a moment that I couldn't come back home. It was never a moment that I had to go hungry. It was never none of that, right? So I give them complete respect and adoration for all of those things as far as making sure that my well-being, right? So most of the time any stupid shit I did was because I wanted to.
Yeah.
But so the only thing that I would say that I would change is making sure that my child has a voice and that they have a choice, right? And make sure that you're having conversations. When I went to college, I came home pregnant with Madison. My mama sent me off to college with birth control. We didn't have a conversation about sex ever. My mom was raised by her grandmother, and my father was raised by, his parents, of course. But they primarily leave that particular conversation with the daughter to the mother, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My mom was raised by her grandparents. Don't have sex. That was the
don't do
conversation.
it.
Right. And then it's when we did have conversations, it was super awkward, And so it's so we just didn't have the conversation. I came home she took me to the doctor prior to me going off to college. Nobody explained to me, here's the pills, here's the pamphlet. I'm not reading this, right? And so I end up getting on an antibiotic. Boom, here's Madison. Okay? So so when I got pregnant, I didn't realize until I got grown, and I was an adult at the time, and I could definitely make a decision about my own life and what I wanted to do with my body, but there was never a conversation had. I didn't want to have her. I didn't want to. I was 19 years old. I didn't want to have her. I definitely didn't want.
We should switch parents because my mama.
I didn't want to get married, and I ended up having a baby and getting married, and my entire life has changed. Now, don't get me wrong. There's tons of good within the bad. My kid is the best kid in the universe, hands down. And that's the good within the bad. But the thing is, I had to go through so much because it was I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And it was well, we don't have abortions in this family. Yeah. And you're pregnant, so now and you're pregnant, so now you got to get married. Yeah. And it's you see failed instances of this all in our community. Yeah. And it's why can you say to me you know what, this is your body, you have a choice.
And you know what? And I caught a lot of flack because I'm open, right, with my kids, and I have an 18-year-old, and we had this conversation live about birth control, and I said that I couldn't take her to get birth control. I can't put you on birth control, right? But if you don't want to be a murderer, don't come home pregnant, because if you come home pregnant, I'm taking your ass to that abortion clinic. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that was my stance as a father, and I got a lot of blowback from that. You know what I mean? But like you said, I had her when I was 18, and I tell them, you deserve much more than what I was able to give you
Right.
at that time.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
I'm growing, right? I don't even know who I am. Anything that I go through as a parent, you go through. So you something
growing
I
up
done
together.
Well, you know what I mean?
At 19.
I
So I
actually
make-
say that to Madison
Yeah.
all the time. I tell her like she's always gonna be like my day one because we like grew up together. I had no idea what I was doing when I was raising her.
Oh.
For real. No, that's real talk.
Yeah.
But if I had the choice, I would not have done that. And I would never do that to her. Like, I would never put her in a situation where it's like, okay, you gave into a carnal instinct and you had sex and you got pregnant, so now all of a sudden you got to be grown. You know what I'm saying? You got to go and get a job. You got to drop out of college. And it's like, I just don't feel like you should have to put a child through that.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's fair. And people can argue back and forth, but I don't feel like that's fair. And then you look at the sacrifices you have to make as a parent, and not to say that how much more you could offer them had you had the chance to actually become who you're supposed to become, achieve the things that you were working towards, because that stuff slows you down. You can, even if you're saying I'm going to make X amount of dollars, guess what? Someone's going to take the hit, so that means I'm not at home. So then I'm trying to overcompensate for not being there. You don't, and even though you buy them stuff, at the end of the day, they still want you present. So there's so many things that where you sacrifice, and it's like, I would have done this differently. And then people all day, well, I mean, you deal with the consequences. It's not there.
And it's crazy now because I have a 2-year-old and I'm way more financially stable now. And I get to enjoy being a mama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel really bad because sometimes I feel like I didn't give her that because I was too busy struggling and trying to make it.
I don't think. Now, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
fucking up along the way.
Let me tell you something. You shouldn't feel bad. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I tell my daughter. And we have this conversation like that. And I say, look, and you just lucky that I'm not giving myself a pat on the back because I was young, but I stepped up to the plate. You see what I'm saying? And I gave your mama everything, and I made a commitment to y'all. Like, it's not to say that you're gonna get that lucky if one of these, especially in these days of time. You know what I mean? These little boys like women. They not even straight. Like, they pitching in their kitchen. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know who you dealing with out here. So it's like, no, man, I'm not gonna let you do that and tie yourself to one of these young men that probably don't step onto the plate. But then, like, y'all just deserve more. So give yourself a chance. You know what I mean? Move forward in life, and then boom. But yeah, man.
No, I mean, I'm straight. And the thing is, like, it's just based off of how they were raised. You know, they did the best that they could, and I will never ever take that away from my parents. But it's just, I think that unknowingly we pass down so much trauma because, you know, you feel like you're doing the right thing. And it's like, it doesn't hurt to just, you know, acknowledge that, yes, you're a human being.
Right.
And you're a human being as well. You're my child, but you're also a human being and you're going through something, right? And so I don't feel that we should always assert ourselves as authoritative figures over our children.
This is what you need to do.
Right. This is what you're going to do because I'm right and just because I'm a mama. And it's like, well, I mean, if you feel like you've done everything right, and it's like in hindsight, I have conversations with my mom now, because I'm walking in my own personhood, right? And I have conversations with her now in ways that I've never talked to her before. And it's like, and I will, you know how you never call your mama a lie? I will call her out now. And it's like, you need to understand that, like, you lie just like everybody else.
And I sometimes have to tell people, like, just because I love someone, it ain't nothing worse than my mama. Your mama's fucked up too. Like, I don't care what nobody say. Mamas is human too. Like, I don't care if your granny told your granny makes mistakes too. Okay.
Well, to piggyback on what you said, Drea, as far as just making yourself look like a person, appear to be a person, a human that makes mistakes to your kids. A lot of people know I was a teenage mom. My oldest son is 17. I had him when I was 17. My mom was a teenage mom. I didn't know my mom was a teenage mom until I got pregnant with him.
Wow.
Call me naive, whatever. I wasn't, counting up the ages.
But that should have been a conversation that was had.
Right, but the conversation wasn't had. And until, we had to have that conversation this is real personal. My mom, she was for abortion. And I hope my son ain't watching because he doesn't even know this. But I wasn't. I didn't agree to it. I was like, hey, I'm gonna raise my child. I got pregnant. I'm doing it. And boy, it wasn't easy, but I felt like, hey, if I chose to do this, then I need to step up to the plate and give him the opportunity to, have life, have grow up, because he didn't ask to not be taken away either. And I'm not shunning anyone who makes whatever decision they feel is the best decision for them. But just if my mom, I'm not saying had my mom told me these things, I would have did things otherwise. I think that it would have strengthened our relationship.
In our community, I really feel like the dynamic between, and I can't speak to a son and a father. I can only speak to a mother and a daughter. I can only speak to that dynamic, that the dynamic has to change. Like, there has to be some sort of leverage where it's not so much authoritative energy that's coming in. It's like, I need you to tell me what life looks like. I need you to, I don't want to go through that shit, right? I don't want to, I know you think that I'm awesome, and I know you think I'm so smart, and you know it, but the reality is I'm going to fuck up. I'm going to go out and have sex. It's going to happen. You can't stop me from progressing physiologically as a human. You cannot do that. Right. The more you tell me that I'm not going to, the more I'm going to do it. Yeah, right? Exactly. And so it's like, I need you to prepare me wholly as a person. You need to talk to me about financial shit. I didn't understand bills and like the ramifications and how like hourly wages don't stretch until I had a whole nother person to take care of.
Exactly.
Right.
And then we need to stop relying on the schools to teach our kids all of this stuff too.
And generationally, and I think what you see now is that shift. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's us being that far generation removed from slavery, progressing, or what it is, but just like right now, I just think that wasn't just you know what I mean? I think it was more culturally, but now, we seeing it much different. I know my relationship like that with my they watching now, you know what I mean? And I can honestly say, for the most part, the people around me, even your friend, the other Andrea, when she posts her, the other Drea, when she posts the conversations about her and her daughter, and
I was like, they have real conversations.
I'm like, where the K at? I think when they say, I think it was your daughter told about the wrong one.
Look, same. And it's like, I think we slowly moving kind of.
I think it's scary though. I think as a parent, this is what I will say. Like, I personally believe that a lot of issues that we deal with in our community, especially with pregnancy, which these things have gone down. STDs has to do with us not having that conversation, and more or less it being kind of like you having sex, and then it's just that I'm a frown on your ass, and now I'm worried that anytime you step out the house. I think that's an uncomfortable conversation, even in 2018, to say you having sex.
And I think it's
like,
weird.
Let's kind of have that convo, or just so you know, when you're ready to do that, we will go down there. But it is an uncomfortable conversation. Because it's like you don't want to let go, but you have to let go because you're not preparing your kids. You're not giving them the tools.
And you don't want them to be 14 and 13 and 14. And my thing is with my oldest is that she's super smart, but she's super green at the same time. And so I'm trying to get in front of the situation. Like, I see her body developing. I see grown men looking at her when she walking by. She ain't paying attention, right? She's still in this mindset of like, I'm still, a child. Right. And so she hasn't been tampered with in that way, but you have people who are looking to do that.
But she needs to be
and
aware.
I'm not gonna always be there to be like, say nigga, she a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like at the gas station, because I do it in a minute. When she walking at the gas station, I will intervene. But I'm not gonna always be there to do that. And it's like there was never a conversation that I feel like my mother was comfortable enough with having with me. That just said, you know what? So this is what's real.
Right.
And this is what niggas gonna do. And the first dude you fall in love with is not gonna be the right nigga for you. Like there was nothing. You gonna love him. You gonna love him to death, right? He gonna make your heart skip a beat. You gonna feel like you can't live without him. But guess what? When he leave your ass, bitch, you gonna keep on living. Life goes
y'all listening, Lex and Ken. I know y'all looking and y'all.
Well, the
listening.
thing is,
she
Lex and Ken.
Listen. I feel like we just need to get in front of raising our children. Like, get in front of it. Because it's happening. It happened to you.
Right.
It happened to everybody else. Like, you just have to defensively parent your children. And I just don't feel like that was something that our prior generations necessarily did.
Well, I would say one of the things that, and I'm going to speak to the black community because that's what I am. I can't speak to Hortensia them or Rebecca. But don't be afraid to be your child's friend. Like, I call my kids my best friend, and I'm not saying that just for show. Those are my best friends. Those are the people that I literally spend dang near every day with. And I think it's important you still can be your child's parent. You can still have rules. You can still tell them what's expected in your home and, have certain boundaries. But I think a friendship is very important because you want your kids to trust you enough to come and talk to you about stuff. To be.
Today, if you're not their friend, and that's another generational shift. Because my uncle, he used to say, you can't be their friends, you have to be this. Well, that was in his generation, right? But now you have to have that balance. But you said you have to be their parent as well.
Right.
And I think where we fall off as a community, you have these people where it's all friends,
right?
No parents,
Or all parents
all
and no
parents,
friends.
Right.
Because we need to find that medium.
That balance.
You gotta be their
Well, I'm
friend.
not their homegirl.
Yeah,
The very clear, I'm not your homegirl.
Like I need you to talk to me. I need you to talk to me and let me know. You know, you got a boyfriend. You feel like y'all finna, have sex or whatever. Like I need to know the information, but I don't need to know when y'all start having sex. That y'all having sex 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah, that's too much information. Like I don't want to know.
I'm good.
But
we finna go get these pills. Though.
Exactly.
I want to know.
Cause I'm gonna text you and be like, you take your pills?
They don't want you to know.
All right, guys, we gotta wrap it up.
Sorry,
I'm way over the time.
And also, what I want to do is, I know we had this conversation. I kind of wanted to like cascade it into the next show where we try to discuss like childhood trauma and like the beginning parts of like childhood trauma and how that was handled. Either by us or family members or things of that sort. So we're just kind of trying to set that up to where we can discuss that.
Right. And then, guys, don't forget tomorrow is Juneteenth. Let's not forget, the sacrifices of our ancestors. So let's try our best to...
Barbecue for everybody.
Barbecue. I want pizza, as always. Barbecue. But we'll try to post on our Facebook page tomorrow morning some Juneteenth events going on.
Before we go, JoJo, give me everybody how to reach you.
Yeah.
Oh, Uncle JoJo Radio, Facebook, Instagram. It's the Love Flood. We gonna what I say? We gonna burn the city down with love. We gonna flood that fire with. It's gonna be a love flood, love art. But it's all love, man. Love deposit. Uncle JoJo Radio, the empathetic asshole, enlightened hypocrite.
And if you go and follow JoJo, because the thing is, we always try to emphasize JoJo's movement. And he goes around and he gave away $1,000 worth of gas on his birthday. Like, literally just gave it away. And he takes donations and takes that money literally and puts it back into the community. And if you're interested, you can go on his Facebook page. You can actually see him in action and see everything that he's doing. He goes and buys kids like shoes and clothes, and I mean, it's literally like does not do when it comes to the community because it is so multifaceted. Yeah. But if people want to donate, what's your Cash App?
My Cash App is $Love Deposit, and also
the S.
No, it's not an S at the end. I heard you last
just
show.
Love Deposit.
Love Deposit. But Miko got it wrong last week, but that's cool. But also the thing about it is what's crumbs of some is toast of most. What you take for granted, some people are praying for, right? So I got homeboys, and they probably have 50 pair of shoes in the closet that they'll never wear again. Give me that, you know what I mean? So it doesn't even have to be cash. If you have gently worn clothes, if you have shoes that's in the shoe box that's up there, I can find a home for it, man. And that's what it's about, because it's not about what you give, it's about the spirit in which you give it, you know what I mean? So, boom, come on over there, man, and join the Love Flood, hot up on this love art. Wow, and I appreciate y'all support, you know what I mean, from day one, the genuine support, the understanding, and I appreciate y'all for having my back, man, and caping for me when I ain't around. Booyah! I'm
going to post my Cash App on our page just in case y'all want to send me some pizza.
I got
my co-host, man. But I'm sorry, I'm just throwing that in, just in case.
Well, we will see y'all next week.
Tune in.
Booyah!
I'm sorry, good night. I'm such a
good night. I was over here feeling like a whole man. Because Marie cried, Drea cried, and I was just like...
I'm good.
Because it is like a...
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful art. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely. And, while you're in the clapping mood, I'd like to give a big round of applause to my band.